I'm Bobby Burton, joined by Rod Babers. Gerry Hamilton is on site at Derrek Cooper's announcement. This is the Derrek Cooper live stream officially. Watch along with us and myself, Rod Babers. Gerry will bring him in a little bit. He's going to be streaming there with us live. Special thanks to our sponsor, RogueShop.com. We'll talk to you a little bit more about them in a few minutes. Rod, Gerry, and I have been talking about this young man for almost 6 months to 9 months now. Gerry thought he was the best running back he saw all spring on his trips around the United States watching players. You got a chance to watch him a little bit as well. As we watch a little bit of film here before we set up his announcement, give us your take on what you see from Derrek Cooper.
A special burst in acceleration. Almost looks like he's running downhill once he gets to the second level. And this is a guy that I always say there's some guys that move the chains, and there are the guys that change the game. He's one of those guys that does the latter, man. He's a game-changing presence for you. Also, I think his hands are a little underrated, too. I know people don't really talk about that, but I think it's compatible with Sark's offense in that you get him on the perimeter with some of those swing screens and some of those swing routes. I think he'd be really good there. I know it's amazing how good of a player he is, that this guy's got defensive highlights and probably could be a great defensive player at the next level. And that's the hands I was just talking about. But he's got elite burst and acceleration, a combination of it. And I think he can put guys just in a blender at the second level. And you can see you can end up taking the wrong angle on them real easy because you can misjudge that burst and acceleration. I think a lot of guys do that, trying to come downhill on them. So a lot of things to be impressed about with Derrek Cooper. And I see why the coaches love him so much.
Yeah, 10.7 100-meter best time for him. Rod, 10.7 at 2:05.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I both know that that's a different type of thing. I mean, look, Texas is going to sign a lot of fast people. It's hard to find guys over 200 pounds that run 10.7. All right, we're going to bring in Matt, our producer, is alongside us. Matt, don't just bring in Gerry, but keep the sound off as we walk in here because we have no clue what the sound is like. Gerry's getting ready there. There it is. There's Gerry Hamilton. I think it looks like Derrek Cooper is taking all the pregame pictures and whatnot. We'll hear from Gerry in the postgame as well. But this is good stuff. Hey, one thing I want to ask you, Rod, as I talked about this, and we'll put this in the lower right screen. Texas in their recruiting right now. There was a time not 2 weeks ago where there was a lot of distraught Longhorn fans. Distraught may be a difficult word or a harsh word, but they were wondering what's going to happen. I have to admit, I mean, I was like, and I mentioned this at the time, is the new era of NIL and the salary cap, et cetera, going to change what Texas is able to extract from this recruiting class? Texas currently has 20 commitments, and they are roughly ranked in the top 10, somewhere, anywhere, I think 7, 6, 7, 8, something like that, depending on which service you listen to. With a pledge from Derrek Cooper, they would jump into the top 5, I believe. My question to you guys and to you, Rod, is this just more proof that Steve Sarkisian kind of knows how to navigate recruiting, period? Like, he's done it. He did it at Washington and Southern Cal. He's a really good recruiter there. He's done it at Texas before NIL and then now after NIL, and now a different version of NIL. Do you just have faith in Steve Sarkisian now as an elite recruiter?
I think there's a lot of evidence of it. There's more evidence to support that than the contrary. And I know there are some Longhorn fans that were a little anxious, right? That they necessarily didn't like what they were seeing in, late June and early July. But I think ultimately, and I said at the time, I said, I feel like Sark's going to end up with an elite recruiting class. We just don't know how it's going to look. And this commitment coming up may be another part of that picture that I don't know if a lot of people would have thrown a Derrek Cooper in this class, but I'm just not saying he's going to be in the class. I'm just holding out hope, optimism, right? But I just said we don't know how it's going to look. And from the Tyler Atkinson to the the James Johnson, flip. I just think that's what it comes down to, that, Sark and his staff, they recruit to the whistle, as Jerry always says. And I think ultimately they prioritize certain players, certain positions and certain players. And when Sark says, listen, I can't pay every player, I can't give every player the best possible deal, right? I can't give every player the top dollar amount that they're going to get on the open market. I think he means that, because I think they're going to pay for players ultimately that they prioritize, and positions that they prioritize in a class, depending on what their roster construction looks like. By the way, shout out to Brandon Harris as well. I think they've done a really good job of navigating it. And I think maybe, they adjusted their methodology, behind the scenes a little bit, that I think ultimately for Texas, there's, like I said, there's a method to the madness. I don't know exactly what it is, but I at this point, I do trust Sark that in terms of the roster construction, that he is going to put together an elite class. I'll admit, I don't think anybody knows how it's going to look at the end of it. I think that's why they're always surprised. It's the flips. And then, obviously this could be another one, just a surprise commitment for players that I don't necessarily think a lot of Longhorn fans thought Texas would wind up with.
All right, Matt, if you'll bring up Derrek Cooper's IG Live, I think that is now available to us as well. We'll probably bring that up instead of using Jerry's feed, because that'll be a little bit closer. But as you get ready for that,
Yes.
one of the things I wanted to mention to you, Rod, and talk about is something that you just went into it a little bit about Steve Sarkisian. CJ Vogel and Jeff Howe of On Texas Football were down at the Texas High School Coaches Association meeting earlier today.
Yeah.
And Sark talked a little bit about how he's approaching recruiting. If you want to watch that full interview, we have it on this channel at ontexasfootball.com and on our YouTube channel, as well as our podcast. So if you want to do that, feel free to make sure you check that out. He talks a little bit about recruiting, talks about some other stuff as well. All right, Rod, before we go full in to the announcement of Derrek Cooper, which should be happening any minute, please tell our sponsor, Rogue Shop, a special thanks.
Yes, thank you to our good friends over at Rogue Shop. RogueShop.com. That's where you can go find all their fabulous products. Use that discount code. You see it right there on your screen, On Texas, and you'll get a very special discount from our very special friends at Rogue Shop, bringing real plant medicine back to its roots. They have it all, from oils and creams to flour, gummies, and vitamins. And so no matter what you're dealing with, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's just general aches and pains from battling Father Time, maybe it's sleep deprivation for you, check out RogueShop.com. They have a variety of different items to help you deal with those many ailments. Actually, members of the On Texas Football family have told me that they love what Rogue Shop has done for them. So go check it out, RogueShop.com.
All right. Look, Rod, as we wait for this pledge, I think he's up there getting ready to hit the microphone. We're waiting again on Derrek Cooper, running back out of Chaminade, Madonna in Hollywood, Florida. Look, this would give I looked at the industry or the composite rankings from various sources. You realize this would give Texas not just the number one player in the state of Florida, according to the industry composite, but the top two. So they would have not only would they have Bell, the quarterback, but also Derrek Cooper, and then James Johnson, according to some, is the number 10 ranked player in the country. But at least according to that composite, they are number 10 in all. All right, do we need to get going here, Matt, our producer?
I like to thank my family, my friends, my coaching staff, my mentors. Just without them people, I don't know where I would be at in life. I'd like to thank the 5 schools. These schools are really good, great schools, and I feel like any choice couldn't go wrong. But, with that being said, I'll be, for the next 3-4 years, I'll be committed to. University of Texas.
There you go. He's a Longhorn. Derrek Cooper, 5-star running back out of Chaminade Madonna High School in South Florida, Broward County. we wondered a couple of weeks ago what he was doing wearing that beanie, but apparently he had reasons for it. And big win there for the Texas Longhorns, bringing Texas now to 21 commitments on the recruiting campaign. Our Gerry Hamilton will be back in a few minutes, hopefully, and have something from Derrek Cooper. Look at this list now.
And you just said it, but when's the last time Texas had that much success getting elite players like that out of Florida? Was it Charlie Strong and his Florida? Was it the Florida?
Dude, they've never done this.
Not elite players like this. They've gotten players, but not elite players like that.
Like Cedric Baxter was the first truly, highly ranked recruit that Texas got in my tenure, at least. John Burt was highly recruited, but he wasn't a top 5 at his position national recruit, in my opinion. Yeah. And so they've gotten 3 now from the state of Florida in this campaign. I mentioned Cooper. We mentioned, obviously, James Johnson, who committed on Tuesday afternoon. That was a big one that the Longhorns took away from Georgia. By the way, Derrek Cooper previously committed to Georgia as well. Add that along with Diabell. Longhorns doing work in
Hey, Bobby, are all those guys from the Miami area, the greater Miami area in Florida?
Yes, all 3 of them. All three of them are in. So there's 2, for those unaware, there's 2 primary counties in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. There's South Miami, which is called Dade County. Yeah. Okay. And then right when it hits about Hallandale, Florida, which if you're familiar, that starts Broward County. Okay. And so they're both Bell and Cooper are from Broward County. James Johnson at Miami Northwestern is from Dade, but it's just up I-95. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just up the road from. Here we're watching some more film of him. Look at this. He plays multiple spots. Some people have compared him to multiple folks, but the reality of it, Rod, that I think of when I think of Derrek Cooper is I think of a big back that can carry the load. I mean, if you want a comparison for me, it's a guy like a Najee Harris that Sark used at Alabama. I don't know if he's as hyper, I don't know if he's going around leaping players like Najee Harris, but Najee Harris, by the time he left Alabama, was 225 pounds and just full of wrecking people. And I'm just telling you, this guy kind of has that physical stoutness to him where he can get away from people, run through people, etc. Just a tremendous all-around player. Big time pickup.
I do wonder, and remember we talked about this when we were discussing, Sark's red zone issues. Those types of backs could have a violent twitch in that red zone, in a short yardage red zone area. And I haven't seen him much because he breaks away so much. But being a bigger back is a part of that. I'd love to get my hands on like game film or something, but he is big and twitchy. And usually that's a great combination in the red zone.
Yes.
For a back. And that's kind of what they had in Rojo, and they had Bijan and Rojo were both like that. That's why no red zone issues there. Not many third down issues, because it's like, no, give it to this big twitchy guy. They're fine. And I think they may get another one in. And like I said, I don't know if it translates, because on this film, all you see is him breaking away from defenders. But I bet it translates just looking at him overall. And you're talking about how big and thick he is.
He does not shy from contact.
No.
That and when you talk about a guy that runs inside zone, you can't shy from contact. You can't. You can tiptoe at times, but when you put your head down, you got to put your head down. Yeah. And that's, I think that's one of the things that he does extremely well. You see him averaging or carrying 4 to 5 other people around there with him. Hey, we're getting ready to cut to something. We talked a little bit earlier, Rod, about Sark and his discussion about relationships as it relates to how he's recruiting in this day and age. We'll talk about that. But first, I want to go through these super chats. We got a few of them. Blake Cooper, love how y'all have covered recruiting this cycle. Hook 'em. Thank you, Blake. We got to give a special shout out to our man, Gerry Hamilton, who is down there for us right now. Gerry literally left the SEC media days after going to visit with Tyler Atkinson on Thursday. He went to go to that practice. He left from there and hightailed it down to South Florida so he would be down there for this announcement this weekend. So special thanks to our Gerry Hamilton. Our guys have been all over the place. Rod, by the way, I mentioned earlier, Jeff and CJ were at the Texas High School Coaches Association meeting today and got some film that we're going to share a little bit of it with you guys tonight from Steve Sarkisian. Todd Lacey, boom, goes Todd Lacey. I agree. We already put up our commit video from him. Rogue Shop with the super chat. Cooper, 6'1", 215 pounds, 10'7", 100 meter. As a junior, he is already more impressive physically and speed-wise than most NFL running backs. Talk about that. Where does he rank as an NFL prospect? Najee, look, one of the things that can be overrated at times is home run speed at running back. It can be. Because you got to get through the nuanced. You got to be patient. You got to be tough. You got to be smart. You got to have vision. All of those things. We'll see if he has all of those things, but I'm just telling you, Gerry went and saw a dozen different running backs that Texas was recruiting and looking at this spring, and he came back and said that Derrek Cooper was the best one. So Gerry's been doing this 25 years. I'm not saying he's, God's gift. No one is to evaluation, but that's what Gerry had to say. And I will say this, the size speed combo is appealing, right, Rod? That's the part that is different and is more NFL like.
Yeah, and you guys have talked about this, though. I've heard you and Gerry discuss it, that there seems to be a bit of a theme, and it was the case last recruiting cycle, and even now, that the athletes are just overall bigger athletes, period. You're talking about a bigger brand of athlete for Texas. They still have the speed, and they still have the twitch that Sark desires for, I think, prospects overall. But the size of these athletes now they're bringing in from the last class and this group, they're all bigger. And I think for Sark, he ultimately, that's a translation to his interpretation of success in the SEC. What will translate? You just need bigger athletes, man. Bigger athletes. So he's another one. So like I said, I think for Texas getting run, CJ Baxter kind of fits that too. These guys are, you see them up close and personal, and they're built different than some of the athletes that Sark inherited. That he did a lot with. He developed those guys into being NFL players, but now the roster looks a lot different than it did 3 years ago. With, I think, more talented depth, a term my man Jeff Howe likes to use.
Yeah. Thanks to Rogue Shop for the super chat. Also, make sure you check them out, rogueshop.com. Derek Best, props to you, Bobby, saying Texas would have 20 to 21 commitments before August 1st. This makes 21. I think that the Longhorns have done a tremendous job of kind of rebounding from when you thought they might not get there. But we had heard about 2 weeks ago that things were trending in the right direction with some not just good players, but great players. Frankly, I think 4 of the last 6 have been 5-star players. Is that right? John Turntine, or at least what we would consider John Turntine, Tyler Atkinson, James Johnson, and now Derrek Cooper to go along with Cozy Akpala and Samari Matthews.
That's momentum. That's momentum. Yeah. We were talking about that's what they were lacking. They got it. This is momentum.
Yeah, but that's elite momentum. That's like you don't get momentum with 5 stars. You get momentum with pulling up your that's a different caliber. And so I think that is it. Gerry is saying there's no chance to get, and I got to read this because some folks are waiting to see if we can hear from Derrek Cooper tonight. He says there's no chance to get him on the live right now. He's going to try and record something with him after him. He said the music is on inside, and there is a party at the Burger Fi. That's right.
The Burger Fi.
He says it's absolutely packed.
Who does that? He just rented out an entire. I don't know what Burger Fi's are. I don't think they have them in Texas that I remember. But
they do indeed have them.
Okay.
They do indeed have them.
Are they good? Or is it good?
It's okay. They've got really good onion rings, in my opinion. I'm an onion ring guy. All right, Jesse Kirby, how much of an impact do you think players like Arch and all the recent draft picks that sat for a year or two and were able to develop factor into today's recruiting? Texas has the modern formula. They don't get put to the task too. I mean, even Colin Simmons didn't start last year. They other than Kelvin Banks, okay, who literally was thrown in there from day 2 of practice because he was just superior to anything else Texas had. This was also 3-4 years ago now too.
Yep.
The rosters changed. How much of an impact do the Arch and those guys by sitting and waiting, Rod? Is it helpful for them? They're not drinking out of a fire hose from day one. And is that helpful?
Oh, yeah. And just it helps retention, right? I mean, guys, because first of all, as a player, every prospect, no matter if they're a 3-star, no star, 5-star, they all do have the same dream ultimately, which is to go to the league. All right. Now, the NIL stuff and all that revenue sharing, it does help, right? That now these guys, they can get paid anytime. They still want to go to the league. That's the dream. And if you can show me a formula, a proven method that will help me go to the league that I can see for myself, which is what these guys are now doing. And now they know these guys, right? They're in the same room with them. They're on the same roster with them. It makes the dream so much more real and attainable. Like you can feel it. You can smell it, right? I can taste it. And for that, ultimately, if you can convince me that, hey, man, your method works to help me accomplish my dream, which is getting to the NFL, I'll sit. I think anybody would. And now you actually have players you can point to that look, as you said, hey man, they did the right thing. They waited till at least till they were ready, until we felt they were ready, and they still were able to ultimately get to the league. And I think there are a lot of steps in between that, but that's the ultimate goal. And I think right now Texas, they can show you the pipeline. They've had more, and Sark keeps saying it. We've had more players drafted in the last 2 years than anybody else. Guys, he keeps saying it because that matters to young prospects. So they all have that dream. I want to go to the league. Can you make me an NFL player? Can you develop me into an NFL player? If you can promise you can do that, I guarantee you'll get the patience, which you're seeing now from top prospects. Now you got to pay them now, of course. That's what revenue share is all about. Everybody's doing that, by the way. But they can go get paid somewhere else and with a quicker opportunity to play. But I think the buy-in now the buy-in for the Longhorns is better than it's ever been for all the players on the roster, including the ones who are just coming in to the new culture.
You have 23 guys picked.
Exactly.
If your ultimate goal is to go to the National Football League, the last 2 years, Steve Sarkisian's had 23 guys picked.
It's giving you the best shot.
And so if he can prove that he can develop, and now he's proven he can recruit, the cycle is just feeds upon itself, which is, more power to us. Okay. Before I go to this next super chat, by the way, this is the Derrek Cooper watch with us. He has committed to the University of Texas. Congrats to Derrek. But before we go to that next super chat, of which I have to go get something special off of my desk or off of my shelf over here. I want to play y'all this clip of Steve Sarkisian. Okay, Matt, our producer, clipped it up for us this afternoon. Here it is. Steve Sarkisian earlier today at Texas High School Coaches Association talking about the impact of relationships, not just transactions, as it relates to college football recruiting in 2025.
Would be remiss. And I know a lot of coaches want to get up here and sing the blues to you and say everything's just transactional now and it's this and it's that. I don't believe that. And I just don't believe that because I know the roster that we have on our team. I know the relationships we have with the players on our team. Is there a business aspect now, a component that has been built in? Sure there is. But coaches are under contracts, and we've got great relationships, and so we can still have really good relationships, and there still be a business component to what we do. And if those relationships do matter, then individuals like that, or whether it's Brandon Harris, our general manager, or John Michael Jones, and all that in that department are critical for our success in forging those relationships. Because if it was all just about money, then yeah, I might sign a decent class, but they're not made of the right stuff that what I'm looking for. It might be better somewhere else. And so I just think that it's, we'd be remiss to push that to the side and say it's all transactional, because at that point, now we're just accumulating talented people, and we're not really forming a really good team. And teams win championships. We don't play tennis. We don't play golf. We play football. It's a team sport, and we've got to build teams year after year.
Hey, he said that about golf. I got to shout out to Scotty Scheffler tonight.
Best in the game.
Yeah, world's number one ranked golfer wins the British Open. Good day for the Longhorns, more ways than one. Derrek Cooper announces for Texas just a minute ago.
Bobby, can I ask you, do that term using the transaction term, did the question include that? Was the question... Did the question have relationship and transaction in the question?
Yeah, a little bit. And it's also become common because
Kirby Smart. Okay, yes. That's what I was referencing.
And it just so happened it happened on the same day Texas added Tyler Atkinson and James Johnson. And so I think it caught some folks. And so it's been a topic of conversation. Okay. I don't think the question was pointed or anything. I think look, money is a part of college football in 2025, but I can guarantee you these guys have opportunities to go multiple places. It's not like there's only one place they can go. They have to feel comfortable with where you're at. Otherwise, they'd all end up at Rutgers that has, can't spend enough money to get everybody to go there. You get my point, right? It's like it's a little different. All right, Rod, we're going to this is our normal Sunday night podcast and live stream. And so we are going to take your questions tonight as well, and not just talk about Derrek Cooper, although that is certainly the hottest topic of conversation. But before we do that, Rod B, thank you so much. Thank you guys for bringing Cooper's Commitment live to us tonight. Special shout out to Jerry. The man is a road warrior. I'm telling you, he's been on the road since last Sunday. So he's been on the road literally 7 days, and he will go back. He drove down there from Houston. So congratulations. Cisco Diaz says, grab the big hat.
Yeah.
Only if Rod keeps as long as Rod keeps the Stormtrooper helmet on. There you go. Longhorn Frenzy, thank you so much, buddy. Hook 'em horns. Appreciate it. And yes, we agree. Gerry Hamilton's the man.
The whole crew has been great. I mean, you just talked about CJ was also at that Tyler Atkinson practice. All you guys from SEC Media Days, CJ and Jeff down at the High School Coaches Association Clinic and Coaching School. So, I mean, it's the best team that I've been a part of since I'm playing at Texas. Honestly, it's a hell of a team.
Hey,
proud to be on it, brother.
You're giving me a big head to go inside this big head. All right, Clint Barrow says, bang, number one running back in Florida 3 years in a row, at least 3 of the last 4, right? That talked to me nice. Cedric Baxter, Jarrett Gibson, and now Mr. Derrek Cooper. Yes, Clint, I think they've made Florida, and we talked about this briefly, a priority, and it started, I think, with Cedric Baxter. It really did. And then now and Jerry and I have talked about this. We thought Texas might have more success in pockets of Florida like Orlando, where Cedric Baxter came from, like Tampa, St. Pete, where Grayson Littleton came from, like even down to Fort Myers, but not necessarily in Miami proper or in Broward County.
Yeah.
There's 3 from Dade and Broward this year. That is, and you have to give props. It started with Diabell. he kind of broke the ice.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have James Johnson. And then today you had Derrek Cooper, the big-time running back out of Chaminade Madonna High School. Thanks, Clint, for the Super Chat. Robert Thompson with Super Chat. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Robert.
Did you see Hayes Fawcett's edit on Derrek Cooper? And a quote shows a quote of what Derrek Cooper said. Really cool. Matt, I guess I have not seen it, Juan, but maybe Matt can bring it up for us, or we'll see if we can get to that in momentarily. Arthur Mills, hey, Bobby and Rod from the ATL. The locals around here gone from UT can't win in the SEC to Texas is a serious problem. And, Rod, I will say this. I don't know that you and I have been on a show together other than maybe that one morning where Jerry and CJ were out. Right. Oh, here it is.
Shout out.
Terry Blacks, I'm on my way.
Terry Blacks got the shout out. There you go. Got the shout out for Terry Blacks, baby.
That is a good quote, Ron. Terry Blacks. Yeah, that's a great place to eat. Hey, what I was going to say, the talk in Atlanta, by the way, Rod, it had gone from can Texas compete to what do we got to do about Texas?
Yeah, I love it. No,
what are we going to do about Texas?
Yeah,
especially on that Wednesday after what happened on Tuesday, where Texas got the number one player in Georgia. Mm-hmm. Texas now has, in this recruiting class, by the way, guys, never seen this before in my life. Texas has the number one player in Georgia and the number one player in Florida.
It's amazing. And from those meccas I keep talking about, right? Miami, the Atlanta area. I mean, Sark's. When I started keeping track of it, that means Sark had been looking at it for 3-4 years before that. So I think ultimately he saw what I saw. You can nationalize recruiting, but you don't want to waste manpower. You don't want to waste time. You don't want to waste energy. The best way to do that, focus on those concentrated areas of talent and pockets of talent. And he's definitely done that. Especially you can look at the recruiting class. It seems to be more so, and some of the additions that he's brought in the front office and with the administrative side of things.
Just got a text from CJ Vogel.
Uh-oh.
He said, Sark, he's down at the Texas High School Coaches meeting, which is where Sark is right now.
Uh-oh.
He said Sark was on the phone with a big fat smile at the Texas High School Coaches Association meeting literally just minutes ago.
Hold up. Is Sark on a
to Steve Sarkisian?
So Sark has gotten commitments the last 2 times he's been speaking with the media. Like, are they planning this, Bobby? Is this playing stuff? Is this a new tactic by Sark? I
definitely think Tuesday was. I think Derrek Cooper had to set up. Derrek Cooper had a different kind of ceremony. I mean, he rented out. I don't know if he rented it out or whatever. They made sure they were going to spend that amount of money at the food at this place. But long story short, I think Tuesday had some planning to it. I think this one was Derrek Cooper had a date in mind and he wanted to stick to it. But I will say this for Arthur Mills, you're right in that Texas is a serious problem / what are we going to do about Texas? And it wasn't just Georgia. It was, LSU saying, that's interesting. It was Florida going, get out of my backyard. I've had this. We could come get players from your state, but you never came to Florida before to get guys from us.
Now he's going to all of them. He's taking them out of Louisiana, taking them out of Georgia, and taking them out of Florida.
Yeah, I'm just telling you now that is real. And Alabama with Vodney Cleveland.
That's right.
Defensive lineman. So I mean, my point being, I guess, he's even got one from Mississippi, Corey Wells.
He's taking it from everybody's back. He's using that SEC footprint. Yeah.
You take I-10 East, Texas hit everybody. All right, this is from Lock and Horns. Thank you so much. Bring this up real quick. Was this the plan even when we were missing late June, early July, or did we crack the NIL code? It is more of Texas, and I tried to tell this to people, and a lot of people didn't believe me. Texas is really concerned about retention this year. Okay? No doubt about it. So you can say what you want about what a recruit is worth, but what's Colin Simmons, Ryan Wingo, guys, Arch Manning? What are those guys going to require to keep next year? And Texas thinks they have a tremendous roster in place and wants to keep that. So they couldn't overspend early. And if they really, really had to go get somebody, they could have went and done that. But they kind of held until they knew the guys that they absolutely wanted. I mean, Xavier Griffin is an example. You probably couldn't get him and Tyler Atkinson both. Okay. And so you have to figure out where you're going to spend your money, how you're going to spend it. And, if you're going to spend it for the best ones possible. I mean, go get the best ones. So I don't know that they cracked the NIL code, although I think they certainly had an idea of what they were doing all along. But the guys that they felt were absolutely must-gets, I feel like Texas has actually gotten them for the most part. So that's where it is. They needed a big-time running back, and that's where Derrek Cooper, now I would say to y'all, Derrek Cooper fits all of that, in my opinion. That's I don't know where to go from here. All right, is Jerry available, Matt, or was he just on and off? He's not available. Okay. All right. Justin Yarbrough says, who does Cooper remind y'all of, and do we take another back in this class? I can answer the second part of this for sure. No other back in this class. It would have to be late, but I think Cooper wants to be part. I don't know this for sure, but I think that I just don't know that there's going to be resources available to another running back at this point. So I think that's part of it. Who does he remind you of, though? I mentioned a little of Najee. I don't know if he's as athletically, like not leaping over people like Najee Harris was. Who?
He's fast.
Dalvin Cook at all? What about Dalvin Cook? He's a little bit bigger than Dalvin Cook.
That is a good one, though. Yeah. I don't have an accurate one right now. I haven't thought about it just yet. That's a good question, Justin. I'll have to give it some thought. But like I said, I think his combination of skills is, and hearing Bobby talk about how big he is and how his acceleration, the burst, the change of direction for him. I do think he's got an elite set of skills though at a running back position. Just trying to think of who has that combination that's close to his that I can think of. I'll come up with a good one.
Yeah, we need to think about that.
Yeah,
he is a rare size. Yeah. He's a rare blend of big time size with elite speed. That is just you don't get 205-pound running backs that run 10.77.
Agreed.
You don't. All right, the Aloha Traveler. Boom.
Oh.
Feeling for Cooper, you guys think? For Steve Sarkisian, I think the sky's the limit. I do really think he's that talented. I think he's I want to say this the right way. I think that he's a little more talented than Cedric Baxter from a home run speed perspective. I want to wait and see if he's as good a teammate as Cedric Baxter is. Cedric Baxter, I'm just telling you guys, he's part of the glue of the team. Even in the year that he had off, but I think he is the best running back that Texas has recruited while Sark's been there. That's my thoughts on Derrek Cooper. So that's where I'm at. Thank you, Aloha Traveler. Hope you're having a nice time out in Hawaii today.
Yeah, I'll say this.
Only thing left in this 2026 cycle is to take Kirby's Georgia cupcake too.
Oh man! Oh, now Jerry's trolling Kirby too. I'm Georgia fans probably right now watching this. I'm sure of it, and they're not gonna like that, Jerry. They're not gonna like it at all. Oh man,
that's hilarious. Yeah. If you missed it on our thread on Texas Football, Jerry arrived early to the announcement ceremony, Rod, and Derrek Cooper's family had cupcakes, a dozen cupcakes for every team.
Oh, nice.
And so Jerry's eating Kirby's cupcake.
That's gonna be. I know Matthew gonna turn that into a GIF or something. One time, it's gonna go viral with Jerry.
No doubt.
Going to go back to in terms of his ceiling, I'll say this: I think he can be drafted in one of the higher rounds as a running back, which these days doesn't happen at running back. Like it's a devalued position. I think he's got that kind of elite traits though get drafted high, and he's got some of those elite traits that scouts covet.
Yeah, he's powerful and fast. I mean, I think Texas is going to find a way to use him early in his career, by the way. Jerry thank you so much for the super chat. Jerry had a great write-up on OTF about recruits, RB recruits since 2000 under Sark. We have been recruiting too deep at a high level. He's been great at running back, way better by comparison, especially on depth. And boy, was depth tested last year. I mean, in retrospect, how important of a recruit was Trey Wisner? I mean, because Jaden Blue is talented in a very certain way, or a very specific way.
Yep.
Trey Wisner, Texas doesn't get to the national semifinal without Trey Wisner last year. I mean, they can't run the ball as effectively. Do you agree with that? I mean, and so my point being, Daniel's mentioning depth here. Trey Wisner was taken theoretically as depth at some level. That was the general thought process. So they are doing a great job. I think Mac had a great run at running back as well.
He had a fantastic
Benson to Charles to
he inherited some good backs too. Now he inherited a couple of good ones.
Yeah.
He inherited.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But my point being, I think that I feel better about the overall depth and how Texas is kind of lined up its roster right now than I have in 30 years. I just want to say that. And I'm not talking about just running back. I mean, they have lined up their roster like you're supposed to. Okay. Now that is not a knock on what Mac Brown did in the aughts. It's not. But you and I have talked about this, Rod. Mac took a good portion of elite prospects and elite players. Okay. And he kind of sprinkled around the team guys behind them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
This is different. And so 1 to 85, I think it's as strong, if not stronger, version of those guys. I just feel that pretty strong.
I think it has to be, right, in this day and age. You sort of talked about that, right? The business side of it with the relationship side. Mac didn't have to navigate the professional aspect of the free market taking over college sports at the time. And I think Sark is understanding I have this advantage. This is going to be built like a professional team. He's got some background in the NFL, talks about it all the time. Talks about how the NFL's answered a lot of these questions and the NFL solved a lot of these problems. So I think he's building as close to an NFL model as he can, which is they don't waste roster spots in the NFL. They don't waste it. Can't waste a third string spot for a guy. Oh, we just need a guy to fill in. It's like, nah, that's not how you build a roster, because that guy may have to play. And your season may rely on that guy. That's Trey Wisner. And that's Trey Wisner in a nutshell. That paid off for Sark, having that approach that, no. We got to maximize every spot on this roster. Trey Wisner ended up saving your damn season, pretty much. So I'm with you on that. I think you're right about it. I think he has that kind of vision. He's talked about that too, right? He's talked about we got to play more of those young guys. So we develop those young guys. He wants all those third string guys to play early so that they can figure out which one of those guys can help them in game 13 and down the line, right? And get those, a few of those reps, not a lot, but just enough to end up adding value to the roster.
Alex January is a great example. I think back to that, right? Played him a little early. I mean, by the time they played Ohio State, what do you have, 10 plays as a true freshman?
Exactly. That's exactly what you want. Yeah.
That is 100% what you want. All right. We're going to bring in Gerry Hamilton here if we can. Gerry is live on site. Gerry, what's it like there? You have to walk outside to get away from everything. Tell us about what's going on with Derrek Cooper.
Well, they're out of Georgia cupcakes. I ate the last one, so I don't think there's anything left for the dogs in this cycle. But no, this is the best commitment ceremony I've ever been to. But the DJ was awesome. Y'all got to look at my thread. He looks just like Bo Davis. Like it's like his Bo Davis's doppelganger as the DJ. It was great. There weren't one of his family members is wearing a Texas shirt, but 99.999% of people did not know where he was going. They had a table with Miami fans, a table with Georgia fans, a table with FSU fans. It was really, really a well done event.
It does.
That does look a little bit like he's got that gray beard like Bo.
That's Bo.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
That's Bo Davis's doppelganger DJing.
Bo's going to talk about take him out to the bus if he starts goofing off too much. Hey, Gerry, you actually have seen Derrek on the practice field.
Yeah.
You went down there, and I was telling folks earlier, you went and saw all these running backs in the spring and visited with them, et cetera. And you came back and you said, I would have Derrek Cooper, the number 1 ranked running back in the country. After you went and saw all those guys, what was it, in your opinion, that made you label him or think of him in that way?
Yeah, look, I think him and Xavier Crowell are really close. Like, there's not a lot of separation. But with Derrek Cooper, I love that he plays football until he cramps. He plays linebacker, he plays safety, he plays special teams, he plays running back. I think the guy's got a really high football IQ. And I think he's very similar to Cedric Baxter in that way, but with more home run hitting speed. He's going to be 6'1", 215, 220 when all's said and done. He's going to be all muscle. There's a lot of muscle he can add to his frame. But, man, it's hard to bet against the kid. And again, him and Xavier Crowell, I think, are 1-2. And Savion Hitler's a good player, too, guys I've seen. But, look, Derrek Cooper is just a ball player, Rod. I mean, he just is like Quandre Diggs. Like, it's like any of these guys that'll play anywhere to help their team win, but then are also a position to have a position, a true position. I think have a chance to be great players in this game. And that's where I'm at with Derrek Cooper. And I'll say the one thing I saw, the practice I was at, I was standing from the end zone angle, and he broke off a 70, 75-yard run on outside zone. And I kind of looked, Chad Scott was there that day, and I kind of looked over, and he was videoing it, and he turned off the video, and you knew he had seen all he needed to see. That guy can run outside zone, guys. He fits this scheme really, really well.
Hey, Gerry, you talk about that. You're also down in South Florida, and you live down there for a bit. What is going? I mean, me and Rod talked about this. Diabell, James Johnson, Derrek Cooper. What the heck is Texas? I mean, Texas now has the number 1 players in the state of Florida and the state of Georgia in this recruiting class. What the heck is going on?
Well, most importantly, these kids clearly want me to move back to Florida and hang out with them. That's number 1. So we'll see what we can do about that. But no, look, I think it's just being in the SEC. I think it's the brand of Texas. You know, Texas could not have gone to the SEC at a better time. Coming off a playoff semifinal appearance, they come in, then they have immediate success. They have 23 guys drafted in 2 years. I'll say this, Bobby, I don't know if you talked about it, and I haven't had a chance to truly get into it, Derrek, but he spoke with Bijan Robinson leading up to this decision. And I think Bijan did a good job telling him why Texas was a great decision for him.
We had not mentioned
it was
that.
mentioned. I heard him mention it, but he hasn't really gone in depth about it. We'll see if we can get him to go in depth about it.
Interesting. Good nugget drop there, Gerry. You think it's SEC related then for that group? Yeah, I think that makes sense.
And look, kids in the city of Miami. You know, one of the things I think Miami and look, there's a long time till signing day, but one of the things that Miami battles is these kids that grew up going to games in Miami. They don't have the atmosphere that the SEC schools have, guys. They just don't. And you know, I think Florida State, if they weren't struggling a little bit would have been much more of a factor in this, but I think there's too much uncertainty there. And Florida just wasn't a school that Coop was interested in. But I do think, look, when he committed to Georgia initially, and then he backed off of that, and talking to some people close to the recruitment, they talked about how much he liked the SEC and how he saw himself as an SEC running back, and the people around him saw him as an SEC running back. So I think you put all that together, and that's where we're at today. But again, somebody in the state of Florida, where I'm at now, I'm in Fort Lauderdale, is going to have to start winning big to start keeping these kids home. Bottom line.
Yeah, and not all of them like to go up to Florida. Still a little too close to home, that sort of thing, and play in the SEC. Georgia has made a living in South Florida as well. They've done really well. Matter of fact, two of those three guys that we just talked about, Derrek Cooper as well as James Johnson, were once committed to Georgia. So we'll see. All right. Hey, I'm going to say one more thing. This from Joe, and then we're going to say thank you to our sponsor after this one, Rod. I'd say Derrek is a bigger version of Bijan or Jahmyr Gibbs. Jerry, do you have a comparison for him from having seen him in person? Because Rod and I kind of racked our brains. I said a little bit of Najee Harris, but I don't think he's as athletic, freaky athletic as Najee is.
Yeah, I don't really. Somebody asked on the site today, and I came up with a couple of guys. Zach Charbonnet was one, and I'm trying to think of the other guy I came up with that was in the NFL. And I was looking more body type, skill set. Zach Charbonnet is one. And golly, I'm having so much fun here. I can't remember the other guy. You'll have to check.
What about a bigger Dalvin Cook?
Dalvin was super explosive, man. I don't know.
Okay.
I saw Dalvin we had Dalvin in the Under Armour game when I was at ESPN, and that guy was a jetpack. I need to think about it a little bit more. I'll come up with something for in the morning, though.
Okay, gotcha. All right, Jerry, thank you so much. I know you're going to try to go get.
I got to go party, guys.
Eat some more cupcakes. Take Jeremy out. Okay. There we go.
Wow.
I love it. Good stuff.
Too much fun. Too much fun.
All right. Hey, we're going to take more of your questions. We've got some more recruiting questions that have come in. We're going to talk about those. But first, Rod Babers, will you please tell us about the fine folks over at Rogue Shop and how On Texas Football listeners can get a discount?
Yes, all you have to do is head on over to rogueshop.com. That's rogueshop.com. Use that discount code. You see it right there on your screen, On Texas, and you'll get a very special discount from my friends over at rogueshop.com. And they have it all, folks, from oils and creams, the flour, gummies, and vitamins. They're bringing real plant medicine back to its roots. So if you're dealing with sleep deprivation, if you're dealing with anxiety, aches and pains from battling father time, or maybe from your playing days, our friends over at Rogue Shop have a variety of different items that'll help you deal with those issues. And I had actually a member of the On Texas Football family tell me that they were dealing with some sleep issues and they couldn't get a good night's sleep. They tried some of the items at Rogue Shop, and now they sleep like a baby thanks to Rogue Shop. So maybe that's the case for you. Use that discount code On Texas, bringing real plant medicine back to its roots at rogueshop.com.
Thank you very much, Rod. I appreciate it. A couple of questions coming in that I think are really good from this perspective. Let me ask you this one, Rod. And I'm going to have Matt pull up our entire recruit list.
Oh, that's good.
Rod, who is your man crush out of the recruits so far? Bobby, same question. So, Rod, who is your man crush out of the recruits so far? Bobby, same question. Put up our list. So
that's really damn. That's a good question. Man, all right. Honestly, Tyler Atkinson is hard not to love.
Yep.
I mean, oh man, he is right there at the top of that list as one of my favorites. If I'm thinking about somebody else, I've fallen more in love with Dia Bell. Not only from watching the film, but I've seen him now more. I think I know our phones are listening to us, so now Dia Bell just pops up on my timeline all the damn time. And I really like his maturity as a player. So I've been watching interviews of him lately and stuff like that. So it's hard not to fall. I fall more in love with him. But man, as a defensive guy, Tyler Atkinson, whew, Man, that's a different. He's. I'm telling you guys. I mean, that his closing speed and his violent, his violent nature and the way that he hunts the football. That reminds me of the old Mike Tomlin quote: "Look like what you hunt." And man, he hunts the football. So those are probably my two main crushes on in this class. But man, this class is just loaded with so many great players. It really
I want to say this. So I actually, the guys that I like are the ones that are not super highly talked about, but I think are really, really, really good football players.
Oh,
so I've got a little bit of a main crush on the class as a whole. Look, Tyler Atkinson had 475 tackles in 3 years. You know what I mean? That's like, it's hard not to, right? But Yaheem Riley, there's Tyler Atkinson's stats.
Machine.
Rod, that's
silly. What is that?
He only played 40 games. He has 79 tackles for loss and 40. He has 93 quarterback hurries in 40 games.
That's silly.
Average. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Oh man.
I mean, seriously, it's anyway. Okay, and that goes to his freshman year in high school, by the way. So, anyway, what I was saying is there's some guys that are lower, what I would call lower ranked, whether right or wrong, the 3-star area that I just think Texas did a good job evaluating. Yaheem Riley, Cozy Akpala, and Nick Robertson. I bet if you were to bet me right now, I bet 2 of those 3 end up starting at Texas for at least 2 years.
Okay.
And they're not ranked that way compared to some of the other guys that you know what I mean by that? Like,
yeah.
But if I were to say I had a singular man crush, it would be James Johnson. So there, his film. I like John Turntine. I like Diabell. I like a lot of these guys. I like Derrek Cooper, obviously, but I like big guys that just throw everybody else around and treat them like rag dolls, I think. That's what James Johnson does.
He makes you question his competition. It's like, who is he playing against out there? Because he's just like throwing these dudes out of the way.
Yeah. Todd Lacey asks, who's the next target for Texas? Get them all on the boat. So the next person that is scheduled to make a decision, and I say scheduled lightly because you just never know, doesn't happen till August, and that is Devon Benjamin, the defensive back out of Southern California. He's elite recruit. Texas, Oregon, and I think Michigan are the 3 primary schools. I think Oregon and Texas may be the top 2 at this point, but we'll see if that still is the case in a week or 2 weeks or so. I have heard that he may move it to August 5th as opposed to August 2nd, but we'll see what happens there. Texas is absolutely involved. Now, I don't feel like this is not a situation where I felt like Texas was in the pole position for Derrek Cooper for 10 days, or et cetera. So this is a little bit different, but Texas absolutely highly, highly interested. Blaze Allen mentioning Devon Benjamin next as well. So we'll have to be waiting. That will be one that we start the process of. Hey, Rod, I mentioned this in this morning's article on Texas football. You realize we're 10 days from camp starting?
Oh, thank the Lord. Oh, I mean, I'm so tired of talking theoretical football and storylines. Let's get to some actual pads being put on. Oh, I can smell it, man. I can feel it. It's getting closer. What are we, 41 days? Or 41 days? 40 days. 41.
I think now it is 40, wouldn't it? It would be 40 because Friday was 42. So it's 40 days. Oh. Corey Redding was 40, right? At one point.
C-Red, yeah. I think you're right about that. C-Red was 40.
Yeah, I didn't think about it. I'm sure there are others that people are going to mention in the chat. I think that may have been his freshman year. Calabasas Horn, thanks for the great coverage. Thank you for watching, guys. We appreciate y'all very much. Hopefully we're creating something here you guys like. John D., we're at 21. How many more And are these the spots? Tight end, offensive line, linebacker, defensive end, wide receiver, DB. Obviously, I think a little bit of it is who they can grab. I would tell you this: they definitely want an offensive tackle to add to this group. They have 3 offensive linemen committed. They want 4, and they want one that is a definite tackle to pair with John Turntine and Max Wright. Okay, so that is one. Tight end is a little different. Tight end, they might decide to do something different with because they love both of their freshman tight ends in Nick Townsend and Emery Winston.
Townsend.
And so they don't feel like they have to push on that unless they find someone that fits, is my understanding. Now, they could go for an inline tight end that is more inline, that may not be highly rated. We'll see what happens at tight end. Linebacker, they have 2. They wanted to sign 3 in this class, and one of the reasons they want to sign 3 is in the previous 2 classes they've signed just 1 and 2 in the 2 previous classes, so they feel like they need a number there. They've already signed, obviously, Tyler Atkinson, who we talked about, and who I mentioned earlier, Cozy Okpala as well. So I think they want one more there. Defensive end, they have Richard Wesley. They are losing at least 2 defensive ends after this year in Ethan Burke, most likely, and then Trey Moore, most likely. Yeah. So they want to replace those 2. Wide receiver, they have 2 commitments. Chris Stewart, who I think is a little bit of an underrated recruit, as well as Cohen Brown out of Waxahachie. I don't think they have to get another one, but if they think they can stay on and get maybe Jalen Lott back around later in the year, we'll see what happens. Or if another one shakes loose, because I will say this about wide receiver. Texas just has such a good pedigree with those guys right now. That might be a position they can get later in the game on a really big time prospect. So we'll see what happens there. DB, we mentioned, I think they want one more. Devon Benjamin is that guy right now, but it could end up being somebody later, Rod, just like Grayson Littleton and Zealous Hicks were later in the process at that position last year. So hopefully, John, that gives you some stuff. This is from Joshy Manning, Tip Jar. Thank you very much, Joshy. We appreciate you. Rod, this is closing in on the hour for us tonight. Final thoughts on Texas and Texas recruiting. Is it kind of ridiculous? I mean, you've been around this program, 25 years now. Is it feel kind of ridiculous? I mean, it's like an embarrassment of riches. You almost want to pinch yourself a little bit as you're looking at it, because Sark's taking this to a little bit different level right now.
Yeah. But no, I think he is just, now the sales pitch is so much easier. I talked about this like a year or so ago. I was like, man, when Sark first started, I mean, it was just tough selling the program, right? 5-7, Texas wasn't producing NFL draft picks. I mean, Texas was one of those underachieving programs, had a lot of resources, could be mocked. And if you want to negatively recruit against Texas, it was pretty easy. They don't produce NFL players. A lot of players, even players themselves were saying this, players go there and they disappear. Like great players go to Texas and never hear from them again. They weren't competing for championships, and they didn't have a consistently good culture. It was a culture issue. Even Sark admitted that. Like, man, it was bad culture when I got there. And ultimately, Sark has found ways to fix all those issues, and he has now ushered in a new era at Texas. But now the sales pitch. If you could sell the program to Arch Manning back then, after what Texas had shown in Sark's first couple of years, and now with what the program is accomplishing, producing 23 NFL draft picks in the last 2 years and making it to the Final Four in the last 2 years. Sark brags about the GPA being the all-time highest in the history of Texas football. Even nationally, people talk about Texas having so much money in a $40 million roster, whether that's true or not. The perception is, well, Texas has enough resources to definitely be the, if not a major player in the next the next, I don't know, phase and evolution of college football, whatever it's going to be, because I don't think any of us actually know how it's going to look. So I just think that the sales pitch now, man, it's easy for these guys. It used to be tougher for them. And ultimately he said this too, the popularity of Texas football and sports seems like it's at an all-time high, which is strange because Texas hasn't necessarily made it to the mountaintop just yet. They're on the way there, but they're still getting 8 million viewers per game on average last season. That's before the arch effect, which will also, I think, help Texas boost that brand recognition even more. So I don't think other universities can negatively recruit against Texas now. They don't have a way to do it. It sounds silly when you try to negatively recruit against it. And I'm not trying to say, oh, Texas is better than every other program. No, but there isn't a real downside to negatively recruit against them now. You just got to hope the young person is not as into Texas as they are into you, because the city's thriving, the university's thriving, the academics, like whatever you want, NIL opportunities, whatever you want, Texas can provide the developmental track to get to the NFL, all those things. And I think now other universities are also other programs that's why they believe Texas is going to be a problem, because they're walking in these living rooms. Usually it was like, hey man, I know how to tell you, I know how to sell you on going somewhere other than Texas. Now that's not so easy. It's not as easy as it used to be. It used to be really easy, actually.
Yeah, Mike Gundy used to have a great sales pitch against Texas. We beat him.
Exactly. That's another one. That's what
he told me one time.
Yeah.
Really? I was like in a group of 5 or 6 people. I was like, "What's your sales pitch?" He goes, "That's easy. We beat them."
That's a good sales pitch.
Yeah,
But right now, though, Bobby, that's not working for Kirby.
No,
that's the crazy.
That's right.
Kirby's like, man, we beat them, and they're like, all right, Kirby, but I'm still going there. And they're like, what the hell's going on? I mean? And it is something special happening there. There's no doubt about it. Yeah,
you hit on a little piece of what we're going to talk about tomorrow morning. You mentioned that 8 million games, 8 million viewers a week game. We're going to talk a little bit about that tomorrow morning on Coffee and Football. So you kind of got ahead of me on that. Last question here. This one from Bevoholic. Thanks for the live coverage. The kids don't need to sign anything. No, they don't. So how does the choice leak for so many commits? Are they compensated in some way to leak the choice? No, they're not. They in fact, this is about, in some ways, building their NIL and their value on social media. They work with people like Hayes Fawcett, who does a lot of what they call edits, which is the visual graphics around a kid's commitment. And he's done a good job through the years of not leaking that information to the public. And so they've come to trust him. And it's really just about building their brand at that point. I will say this. I mean, while I knew Texas was very involved with Derrek Cooper, the public did not learn about Derrek Cooper's interest in Texas until a Miami site put it out there. So sometimes it's the teams that lose that put it out there, or that are getting beat a little bit, because they want to put a little pressure on that, or they want to cut the expectations of their fan base, etc. So hopefully that makes sense, Bevoholic. Thank you guys. Thanks to everybody that participated. We had so many super chats today. Thank you to Rod B. A special thanks to our producer, Matt Hutchison, and very, very special thanks to Gerry Hamilton, who is on site for Derrek Cooper's announcement to commit to play for the University of Texas. Also, thank you to our sponsor tonight, rogueshop.com. Use discount code ONTexas for all your needs there. For Rod, for Gerry, for Matthew, and also for our friends Jeff and CJ, who are down at Texas High School coaching school. This has been On Texas Football. You guys have a good night. Hook 'em horns. Congrats, Derrek.